All right.
The website and share my screen. Okay, so hi, I'm Andrew Rush. I've had a couple of you for Professor so far. I'm an aspiring video editor ready to sort of display everything that you want to share with the world. Here's a show reel of some of the best works that I've done over the past couple of years.
You may want to go back into share screen and turn on share audio as well, Andrew.
Gotcha. Let me see if I can find that.
So stop share screen and go back into share screen, and it should be in the lower left, I think.
Okay. Share sound. Got it. Bring that back to 0. Okay. You hear that?
Yes.
I can tell from the way that you stand. And you said that you worked in an unmarked van.
Well, listen, boys, I gotta live another way.
I'm not a cop.
How Dungeons and Dragons work, the best way I can describe it is given roles and you're given dice and you're given a role to play. It's more like a choose your own adventure, but with a little bit more spice, role play, and freedom of choice in a
So
sense.
that's sort of more of the general idea of the types of works that I've gone through so far. And there are a lot of casual and professional videos. I've worked on a lot of personal projects with my own theme of comedy, as well as just trying to create or recreate somebody else's likeness. And I can create professional videos for tutorials, commercials, and documentaries as well. There's a contact email right here if you ever need to just go straight there. But here's the About Me section. I'm a Washingtonian. I have a lot of experience with video. I've worked with 2 years of experience with Filmora X and Filmora Pro. I have worked with Adobe products, but I have not had the budget to work with them full time yet. So I've just been focusing my attention more towards Filmora X and Filmora Pro. But as I've sort of worked with Adobe products, I've noticed that there's a lot of similarities in the tools that they have between them. So there's a lot of easily transferable skills that you can go straight from Filmora to Adobe. Some of the accomplishments I've done are I've remastered an entire YouTube Let's Play series and put that on a DVD box set, and I've actually sent that to him. He posted about it on Twitter. He said that he was eventually going to post one of the episodes that I made for him on his channel. He really enjoyed it. He had previously wanted to put it all together in a DVD fashion sort of thing so that he could have it sort of cemented and finished forever so that he can always go back to it whenever he wanted to. I've done recap videos for a friend of mine on YouTube. He streams a bunch of different games and he does recap videos for them. I've taken his audio that he sends me. I've taken the 5-hour streams that he's done. I've gone through like a bunch of different sections that he wants to go over and sort of set them up so that it's a what happened last time sort of short video that he wants to do for his videos. And currently I've made video tutorials for my workplace right now. I work currently at a video game testing place. It's mainly just a bunch of test cases. I'm not able to show them due to NDA. Everything that is done in there is strict NDA, but I can send a link to their contact info if these are ever needed to be shown. Here is the list of videos that I've done sort of over the years. It's a Dungeons and Dragons documentary that I did at the end of that portfolio video. This is the Dead Rising playthrough bonus episode that I made that I mentioned earlier for the DVD project that I made for the YouTuber. This Kingdom Hearts level 1 project was a personal project that I've wanted to do for a while. It's a video length sort of tutorial to go through the entirety of Kingdom Hearts 2 at level 1, but with my own sort of style of comedy sprinkled in with them, because a lot of YouTubers in their tutorials will show some jokes to kind of differentiate from just straight tutorial to jokes and everything. This video is for a music video, quote unquote, of a Tom Cardy song called Businessman. It's a song about a cop going undercover and trying to convince these guys that they are a businessman, but I took that as a similarity to Hitman, the video game, where you can be a hitman trying to go undercover in a bunch of different outfits, and it's just sort of comedically timed to that. This is a Doritos commercial made for a DMA project. It was with video from a different company that they sort of shared with us, and I took that video clips and everything and put them into a commercial. This is the most recent video that I've done. It's a trailer cut sort of video of all my favorite video games and all their best scenes and audio works and everything. Let's go through some of the videos entirely, or not entirely, but like somewhat. And okay, we're good. My laptop seems to be freezing a bunch. That's not good. Okay. I'm just gonna skip through some of this part. Is it frozen on your end too, or is it?
I'm hearing some
It is,
audio.
yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, my laptop has been very hit or miss when trying to use this sort of thing. Let's see if I can. There we go. And there it goes. Okay. Let me try closing out of this and getting to Google Chrome and seeing if that maybe helps it out. And on second thought, I guess my entire laptop is just going to freeze on me. If you can maybe give me 2 or 3 minutes, I can try restarting my PC or my laptop and seeing if that'll help it.
Yeah, we can go ahead and do that.
Okay, cool. I will be back in a few minutes.
Okay.
It's
Welcome.
Andrew. He's back.
Got muted again. There we go. And share sound. Okay. Cool. Let's go back to portfolio. And we'll go back to the documentary video real quick. So I'm not going to show the whole video just because it's going to take up too much time, but I will sort of skip through everything. Turn down the video a little bit.
First time I was introduced to Dungeons and Dragons was kind of just
So something
through,
with this video is that I wanted
my
to
friends. We were all sitting down playing,
at the time
Magic the
of
Gathering,
taking the
and it kind of
DMA
just popped
246
up,
class,
and I kinda just
Dungeons
joked
and
around
Dragons
about
was
it, and then
becoming a
suddenly
huge
people
part
were sitting
of
down
like
playing Dungeons and Dragons.
YouTube and
Dungeons
everything, and they
Dragons work,
really wanted to get more into
best way
Dungeons
I
and
can
Dragons
describe
with a
it
bunch of
is
content
you're given
creators.
rules,
So I
and
wanted
you're
to
given
sort of
dice,
give
and
a
you're given
documentary
roles.
of
It's more
what it's like to
a,
be
choose your
a
own
dungeon
adventure, but
master
with
for
rules of,
Dungeons and
like,
Dragons,
spice
and
roleplay and freedom
sort
of
of
choice in a
what it's
sense.
like to
The first time
lead
I
an
played
entire
Dungeons
group
and
of friends
Dragons,
through
was
it,
a little
and
awkward for me. I
what it's
tried
sort
to
of
learn a
like
little bit, but I found it wasn't really
from
my cup
a
of
player's
tea to,
standpoint
do,
and
so
everything.
I kind of just
I
did what
used
was neat, fun,
Keegan,
and
who is
cool
a
when it
friend
worked
of
out.
a
Now that I
coworker
have
of
more
mine,
experience under my belt
and
with Dungeons and
just
Dragons, it's definitely a
sat
lot more
in for
fun
their
and more
session and
free to
everything.
do. It's easier to play and more fun.
The next video on my portfolio is the bonus episode that I made for the YouTuber that I made the DVD project for. The DVD project was entirely a bunch of fan art added to each episode that he made, as well as combining his Dead Rising playthrough and re-editing it, reformatting it to make it as if it's a actual TV show that he wanted to make and put onto DVDs. And this video was made to go based off of everything that he sort of missed in that video. It goes over mainly the boss battles that he wanted to do, because in the beginning he said it was going to be a psychopath playthrough, which is to go through every psychopath boss battle in the game, but he ended up only going through the majority of them and left out 4 of them. And this is sort of me showing off every single area, putting in my own comedy, and trying to mimic his style of editing as best as I could. This is my own personal project I've been working on. This is a Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix Level 1 playthrough. It goes through the entirety, this part of how to get through the first world, which is Twilight Town, and how to get the best routes for getting through it as quickly and efficiently as possible. Next video is the comedy style that I talked about for Tom Cardy, his Businessman song. It's not that long. I feel like we can watch the entire thing real quick.
I'm a businessman with a business plan. I'm gonna make you money in business land. I'm a cool guy talking about GameStop. I'm definitely not a cop.
Why'd you say you're not a cop?
Because I'm not.
I think that you're a cop. I also think that you're a cop.
Now listen, boys, you better both stop or I'll have you arrested.
I'm not a cop.
I'm a businessman with a business tan. I spend my days in a big black unmarked van. If you wanna talk turkey, I'm here to talk shop. I'm definitely not a cop.
You're a motherfucking cop. I can tell from the way that you stand. And you said that you worked in an unmarked van.
Well, listen, boys,
I'm not a cop.
I'm a businessman in a coffee shop with a loaded pistol and a bulletproof vest. I saw my wife get killed by the drug cartel. I'm not a cop.
Give it up, business.
This is the Doritos commercial that I had created for DMA 247. It used footage from editmentor.com, and we got permission to use these from that class. And then the final video that I wanted to play sort of in its entirety was a compilation of all my favorite games, the quotes that are used in it that definitely resonated with me at the time, and making it sort of a trailer for all of them combined into one. The thing that I plan on doing eventually for this is to add in subtitles, because the music ended up being a little bit louder than I anticipated.
Your life will always be a struggle, and you will always have problems.
There we go.
But today, you have the chance to see things differently. You thought outside the box, and you overcame them. Because you saw things from every angle, you understood them for what they really were.
Being a god, it can be a lifetime of anguish and tragedy.
Here, catch.
That is the curse. We are not men.
Activating short-range attack gear.
We are more than that.
That ain't no fucking private eye. That's a fucking ghost. That's a myth. That's a fucking hitman.
Do this!
I'm so proud of you. And Ben, you too.
Save the people, Jack. They need you.
We are perpetually trapped in a never-ending spiral of life and death. I often think about the God who blessed us with this cryptic puzzle, and wonder if we'll ever have the chance to kill him.
There are consequences to killing a god.
How do you know? How do you know?
You're up.
My friends are my power.
What can I say? You guys are the best.
Okay. That is everything that I have to sort of show off for my portfolio. This is the contact page that I have. All my socials are via these links, as well as in the portfolio page. Just at the very bottom, links to my Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. And that's all I got.
Okay.
Do you want me to stop sharing my screen?
You can.
Yeah, sure. Andrew, couple things. One of the things that's a little bit challenging to be able to accurately view the editing because of the streaming issues, and so it it doesn't play back, so it's really hard to kind of evaluate the editing projects that you did. So that's one drawback to this method. I'll talk about a couple things though. One, I would lose the Doritos thing. It's in the sense that without your explanation of what it is, it kind of implies that you cut a Doritos commercial.
Gotcha.
And it was hard to judge if it's a strong demonstration of your editing skills because of the playback. So, but when you're using something like that, it can just get a little confusing as to what your role was and is it a professional project or not. That was great that you had a demo reel, and because especially for an editor, the cutting of the demo reel is a first introduction to your editing skills. And because of the playback issues, it was kind of hard to judge, but having a demo reel is valuable. So that's good that you do have that. You might look at removing the Doritos part, recut that, just because that was the first thing, and that throws that question of, without an explanation, it throws the question of, oh wow, you cut a Doritos commercial. Then later, what was cool is you started explaining some of the different projects that you had done. What I would encourage is, if you're giving a presentation, is, like you talked about the YouTube project that you did, and then maybe show some if you can, and then maybe talk about the next project and then show some, rather than as I followed it, you kind of talked about all of them and then we saw each one. It would help if we kind of hear about the project, the challenges you ran into, how you solved some of those, and then get to see some of it, so then we can kind of connect it and then watch the next one. On one thing I wasn't quite clear on is you had the documentary, but most of the other was kind of cutting gaming stuff. Is that more of what you really feel an interest in, or do you want to be able to cut documentary as well as other stuff, or kind of what's your interest?
It's more the gaming sort of aspect, and I guess I can actually show maybe instead of the documentary or the Doritos commercial, to add in my friend's recap videos, so that I can add that in, so that his gaming recap videos are more shown in that.
Or something that may highlight your stronger editing skills. And especially it helps to show the kinds of things that you want to do. I have because I'm not a gamer and I don't really see all this stuff, I have a hard time understanding, when you're cutting gaming stuff, what is your role? What are you having to do to actually cut it together? I have a much clearer understanding with video, with interview and B-roll and how that works. So I don't have any way to give you feedback on the editing of those.
Yeah, for that,
Renee
I think
may be able to.
Neho definitely will. But I, for the most part, recording the gameplay aspect of it was all me. But the cutscenes themselves that are pre-rendered and everything was all done by somebody else. I'm just kind of adding them in, spliced in.
Right. Okay. On the trailer, where it's kind of a collection of all your favorites, you made a comment about that the music ended up being too loud. Did you drop in the music in Premiere underneath?
Yeah, it was leveled down a little bit, but to sort of balance out the comments that the characters were making and the audio themselves, the music would have to fluctuate a ton, and I didn't really want it to sort of distract from the viewer to see the audio of the song change throughout the entire thing.
Yeah, and that's a delicate balance. I think you could pull that music down a little bit more and maybe feather it a little bit. As a starting point, a lot of times in my audio clip mixer, if I have music under sound bites, I'll set the slider to about -21 or -23 dB. Depends on the piece of music. But So you may not want it quite that low, but you may have to duck it down more than you did as a way to help enhance that. Another thing you can sometimes do is EQ the sound bites, so that you boost a little bit more of the midtone, so that it helps pull that voice out of the background a little bit more. So there may be some things you could do.
Okay.
But anyway, so those are just a couple things that I was curious about, and I'll leave up, let other people speak.
No, Renee?
Go. Sure. I didn't want to interrupt hypothetically. Okay, so I have a question about like the kind of work you want to be doing professionally, because like where that goes, the conversation can very quickly spiral into a direction that you might not necessarily care about. So when you're thinking about like the kind of content you really like to play with, which is very clearly like games, nerd stuff, by the way, I completely identify. Where would you see your dream job being in that scheme, in that realm?
So currently my video editing style sort of leans more towards where YouTubers have been doing their video editing, and that's sort of what I'm trying to recreate and trying to get into. But
so you're trying to get into YouTube videos?
Yeah, but not my own personal videos, but mainly just trying to edit somebody else's, because it feels like being a YouTuber is a lot more struggles than just being a video editor.
Okay, then you're on the right track. I'd say that do you have like YouTubers that you follow whom you're trying to replicate, or who like measure up the quality of your work to that?
Yeah, the person that I made the DVD video project was the person that I'm trying to recreate. His style is very quick-witted and trying to sort of splash a ton of information all at you at once. And
okay,
a lot
what's
of
his
stuff
name?
like that. Phantom Savage.
Phantom Savage. I'm gonna look into them later. I'm just making a note. No, I'm not gonna like look into them right now.
Yeah.
Okay. At the moment, you are getting pretty niche in that, like, it's getting very specific about like who your audience can be, which is both like kind of great and also problematic in its way. There's pros and cons, right? The pro is that you get to work on the stuff that really excites you and you get to focus on that. The con is that you have a much smaller pool of employment to kind of go fishing in. And so that means that you're going to be competing because with people, especially in games and nerddom specifically, if you're going to be competing with others, there's going to be a lot of other folk that are just as excited as you are to work on this kind of stuff. And so I'm going to offer some advice on that, like the content that you're using, you start applying a more polished eye on every visual aesthetic from start to finish. I'm noticing a trend overall. Like, I think your editing is pretty cool. I can't speak to it directly. Dave can, right? But the layman is usually who's watching, and we're the ones that we don't know what your process is, right? If the aesthetics are hurting, it's gonna come off that way in the very initial engagement with all of your stuff. From the very first thing that I see in your portfolio to the very first shot that we do. And while it's not really fair to say that like you're responsible for the footage, it's on your stuff though, right? And so like that's what we see. And so when you're getting cuts from gameplay, those foundations of camera work start to come out, and you'll need to start like, I don't want to say start because I'm sure you're practicing already, and I can't really speak to it too much. The website is a little rough. It's an interesting choice. You had all of your content be very large and then your titles be smaller. The kerning or the side, I think, margins were a little tight. There's kind of an aesthetic choice throughout this that it's a little distracting. And even your logo, I mean, you might want to just take it down, like take the logo down. Because if you're, there's nothing wrong with like not being a great graphic designer, right? That's not your skill. You could hire someone to do it if you're not at that stage yet. You're going to be judged most harshly by your weakest piece across the board, almost always. And you'll want to be mindful of that as you move forward through the other stuff that you're working on. I see, yeah, like Phantom Savage does some pretty cool cuts. I see what you mean by like how you want to like simulate that style of editing. I would never have put that together looking at it though. I don't know that that's, it's just because I'm not looking for the editing, but the visuals, are they doing their own writing too? Like they're telling the story, they're writing the scripts and all of that? I didn't watch it.
He's sort of taking a bunch of comics from like fan comics, and he's sort of taking the text, taking them out and then fading them in, and he's voice acting them throughout most of his stuff. So his main goal is voice acting, but his video editing sort of amplifies that.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think you might want to try to like work with some people who have a diverse skill set from yours. You got to be the editor. We got to get you could be the writer too. I don't know. But like we got to get dedicated writer, dedicated people who could polish the parts that you're struggling with. Right.
Okay.
It shouldn't necessarily be on you to like do good lighting and do good, stuff like that. But like, I think with the right content to like actually do the editing with, your stuff will be much, much stronger. I don't know. I'm gonna and I was gonna speak to game cinematography or just like videography really in games. And there's so many channels I can go down to, from doing trailers to cinematics in game to like gameplay design where cameras are important. So like there's so much that can go down to with that, but that doesn't sound like it's what you wanted to do. So I'll refrain from going that direction.
Yeah, the footage from my gameplay, I would have loved to have better angles in, but because I don't have an Elgato to capture PC gameplay or anything, I have to kind of just use a PS5 to just kind of record all my clips and everything, and do my best to kind of do that with an analog stick.
That is a challenge.
Yeah, the only thing that I would stem off of Renee is, I would say just cut out your logo. Like it's okay to have a logo type, which is your name, and maybe there's like a font that you like that represents you and like kind of your branding, because you do have to kind of brand yourself. I think that's like the first thing that I noticed. I was like, he needs a different logo.
Okay.
Which is fine, but if you need somebody to do it for you, I'm sure you can definitely hire somebody to do that and pay them like one time, and then you have that, which I think is a really good investment to have if it's not a strength or you're not maybe comfortable, creating that, because those people exist to do that for you. So
I did even hire my friend for that DVD project. I hired them to make the box art and everything that would kind of go on the front cover of a DVD, because I couldn't do that for the life of me. And I wasn't sure if I wanted to add that into the portfolio, because I figured that was more their work than mine. So I didn't really want to show off the DVD itself.
Yeah, I think that was a good call. Yeah, I mean, that's all I really have. But Renee and Dave have kind of spoke to it, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't. I know that it is a real niche that you're looking at. I know that I talked to Liz about what you were doing, and she said that there is a place, like Renee mentioned, for cinematics and things like that in gaming. They do like having editors who are able to come in and take their game video and cut it for certain things. But I'm not familiar with that marketplace at all. So
yeah, and even the Game Awards just recently put together an entire like video along with their orchestra of all the games that were sort of submitted for their awards, and kind of just making them as if it's a trailer for everything that was in there.
Yeah, like I say, I don't have much of anything else to say at this point. So anybody else want to wrap this up? I know Dave had to leave, unfortunately, but
yeah, no, I think we're good.
Okay, no, that's it, Andrew.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'll send you the link to the recording as soon as I have it.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.